All right, yo, what's going on? Welcome to the 27th episode of the SlashMMR podcast. Out here today. It's currently July 23rd, and I'll be going on vacation to Iceland soon. So that's why I'm recording it currently. So that's basically the small little intro there. I'll go to Iceland soon. I'm very excited. We're gonna be there for around 2 weeks, doing a little trip across. We're not staying only at I think I don't know how I say it in English. Reykjavik, I think is like the name how we call it, but I don't know if that's just the Icelandic name or just the English name of it. But that's like the capital of Iceland. We're not just staying there, but we'll also go there. But just like really a whole trip around. There also is it's called the Black Beach, I think. It's like where the sand is just black. We're also gonna go there, and apparently a lot of Game of Thrones got recorded in Iceland, but also some Star Wars things, including Rogue One, which is like a loose movie from like 2016, I think. Um, and if you're not familiar with Star Wars, basically in Rogue One, that's where Andor plays in, who recently a few years ago got his own show. He was like a character in Rogue One, and then he got his own show, which went over 2 seasons, and like the second season dropped like not too long ago. And me and my family actually just finished watching that, and it was really great. And then we watched Rogue One again. It's actually season 2 is like the end of the Andor show, and that perfectly like matches with the Rogue One movie. So the movie came first, and then they made a shot out of Andor, the character, and then that perfectly flows into the movie again. So it's kind of like a cycle then. So we get a little bit of the backstory of Andor, of course, in the show, and then we see how everything comes together, the whole rebellion, and how he's involved in that in all the specific ways. And then he goes on a certain mission to get information regarding the Death Star, because they learned that that the Empire is building a weapon. And yeah, it was kind of interesting though, because of course Andor, it was being made currently. It's like a recent show, so the quality is really high, right? But so it's kind of hard to think like, okay, like what timeline does this actually play in? Because for the first season, I had no idea like what the timeline was. Like when does this actually take place in the Star Wars universe? But of course, I mean, I get, of course, you know because of Rogue One what exactly it is. But like, I honestly I'd forgotten how Rogue One went. I do remember seeing it at the time, although I really thought I did. But when we rewatched it again a couple of days ago, I did not recognize any of the movie. So I had no idea when Ender took place. I totally forgot that he was involved with the whole Death Star thing. So in season 1, I really didn't know when it even took place. But then it became very clear that, of course, it is during that time when the Death Star was being finished and even tested. Which is kind of crazy because, like I said, the quality of that series is, of course, high. Like the visual quality. But then you compare it to, because it takes place at like the same time, around the same time that of course Luke Skywalker is doing all this stuff, and then he has to of course get into the Death Star and destroy it. It takes place around the same time. So to think about that, and when you compare those two movies and in the series, like it's kind of weird because they don't look like they take place in the same time, but they really do. It was a great fucking show, bro, and it was praised a lot as well online. Of course, Star Wars these past couple of years have been notorious for not really releasing great shows. Of course, not Star Wars itself, but then Disney, right? Disney is in control of all this stuff now. I mean, they did that. I already forgot what it's called, like Oshaka, I think, or something. That terrible show with like the witch ladies. That really was an awful show. Okay, I actually did watch the first season. I think they canceled the second one. I don't even think they're gonna do that anymore because the reception was so bad. I think that it was in the Oshaka, or maybe that's a different one. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna look it up 1 second. Oshaka, yeah, no, it was that. No, wait. Oshaka is actually the a good one. Okay, never mind. Asaka apparently. That's the girl with the not even dress, but like whatever you want to call that. I haven't seen that show. I think that one was pretty well regarded too. The acolyte is what I meant. Keep forgetting that word, acolyte. That's the word I meant. Yeah, from regarding Asaka, I really don't know. I haven't seen that show, but I think that it was pretty well received, from what I can recall. But the acolyte, that was what I meant. That was terrible. That was that was an awful show. And like I said, I'm pretty sure season two just got straight up canceled. They were planning on, you know, continuing it, but thankfully it got canceled because it was really the worst thing Star Wars has ever done, bro. And also you had the Squid Game actor in that too. You know, the Jian Hu, I think that's how you say it. He played a Jedi, bro. He was a Jedi. He also he didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really like him how he was in that character, how he was acting and stuff. Like it was really goofy. But yeah, that also when watching Squid Game season three, that also made me kind of think of that every time I saw him. But he does look very different though. Like he had like long hair in the Star Wars one, the Acolyte. But that was a terrible show. Okay, and shout out to Asaka. I mixed it up. I haven't actually seen that, but pretty sure it's pretty well received. But of course, also with the Obi-Wan show that was recent, like a couple years ago, didn't really like that either. I thought it was all right. Okay, I didn't really mind the Obi-Wan show. I did see it. I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, I mean I love Obi-Wan Kenobi, so seeing a little bit more stuff about him was nice. But of course, those scenes with Darth Vader, some of them just didn't make sense at all, which kind of just yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but it was kind of like a random side mission too, because he had like to do something with Princess Leia. It was very random, but still, it was an alright show. Of course, you also had The Mandalorian, which was very beloved for like the first season, but I don't even know what season it's on right now, but it kept getting worse. Honestly, like it kind of fell off. But the Andor, just Andor, not the Andor. Andor it was like the most well received one, and unfortunately, it already ends after 2 seasons. Apparently, there was an original 5 season plan, but they shortened it to two. I mean, I guess great that it doesn't overstay its welcome like The Mandalorian. But yeah, I do think that, of course, when you look at something like The Acolyte, these are just like brand new things, right? I mean, with Andor, they really had to build up to where the movie begins, Rogue One. So I think maybe that played a role in how it was handled. I don't know, but it was a very well made show. Definitely two great seasons. And yeah, we did watch Rogue One after, also because Iceland is actually in there. You know, they have a scene there in Iceland on the Black Beach, only in like the beginning, I think. But yeah, we had to see that because that's where we're gonna go. So that's cool. It was pretty exciting. That's all I want to talk about in regards to that. Of course, the Diddy verdict came in, bro. Okay, not too long ago, Diddy, our great friend of the show. Not really, but yeah, he of course he's been in jail for like almost a year now. I don't even know, awaiting his trial, or yeah, I don't know how exactly that goes, that process. But I know he was like in jail and he's like in court and stuff, waiting to get sentenced, I guess, or be spoken free, because he had some heinous crimes. He's done some heinous crimes allegedly, so that's what he was up against in court. And yeah, we don't really know that much about what's going on inside the court. Of course, we only get like some of those court sketches every now and then. But yeah, he did get a verdict, and he was actually found not guilty on a couple of pretty serious accusations, which could have landed him in prison for life. So yeah, all that blackmailing stuff, pretty sure he got found not guilty on. He would allegedly blackmail people, with no videos of his party, and then like the attendees, he would like blackmail them or some shit. He was found not guilty on all of that and some other yeah, wild stuff too. And he did get found guilty on, so he was guilty on like transport, with the intent of prostitution or something. Basically, just like driving a hooker around or something and dropping her off at someone else. I think, I don't know. But basically, he did get charged for something, but he would only receive like maybe 10 years max for that. And considering the allegations, which a lot of people have been saying are true, 10 years is very light. Okay, like that man, if he can eventually walk free, that'd be pretty wild. I don't even really know how he got found not guilty and all that other stuff, because there were a lot of different witnesses also taking the stand and stuff. A lot of people think like, oh well, because he has money and a lot of famous people were involved, maybe he doesn't get punished as harshly or something. People always say that because of the money, yeah, people easily get away with stuff. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of weird that he, didn't get very harsh sentencing. But I mean, he hasn't been sentenced yet. But I mean, with the verdict, then that he didn't get, found guilty on numerous things that people were really convinced that he should be guilty of. So yeah, however that will go, I'm not sure. Um, I don't know when exactly he's gonna get his sentencing. Maybe he could still walk completely free. I highly doubt it though. He's probably gonna get some jail time, but how much that'll be, we still have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the Diddy verdict, bro. Kind of crazy, unexpected for a lot of people. Like people thought there's no way he actually got away with it. But yeah, apparently there was not enough proof. If there was enough proof, he would be, he would have been found guilty. But I don't know exactly what the judge wants to see. But I thought there was a lot of proof and a lot of witnesses, but apparently not enough. So yeah, that's the Diddy situation. Still ongoing, but yeah, found not guilty on some pretty serious things, and we'll see however much years he does get for whatever he was found guilty on. Now, in regard to crazy people like Diddy in these crazy cases, we also have Epstein, of course, who has been dead for like 6 years, but the Epstein Files, man, that whole fucking drama has been really blown up lately. I mean, the Epstein Files were something that were like, really wanted by the public for years, but now ever since the new administration has come, people really thought like, okay, the Trump administration, they're gonna like, rip the band-aid off and just show everything. I'm pretty sure like they did post like the flight logs back in like February or something, but the Epstein Files themselves, like who actually went to that island and did suspicious things there. Apparently, that's a tougher situation. Okay, I mean, there's been so much speculation and drama circulating around and discussion these past like 2 weeks. I don't know where it stemmed from, but basically people were getting kind of fed up. Like, okay, when are these Epstein files going to get released? Or when are we exposing these billionaires who did things, possibly with little kids, which of course is not a good thing. I mean, that island, God knows what happened on that island, bro. Like the stories, the theories are all crazy. But of course, Epstein did get imprisoned at the time, and then he killed himself allegedly. So yeah, that's also still a huge theory. Like, did Epstein actually kill himself, or was he murdered? What happened exactly? And yeah, so the Epstein files, they do exist. Maybe like a year ago, they were like, "Oh, the Epstein files. We're going to release them." And even one person that was in the administration said like, "Oh, I have them on my desk or something." And now randomly they backtracked and said there are no files. And apparently, like the FBI like concluded the investigation on the Epstein shit, and they concluded that he did indeed kill himself. And to back this up as well, they also showed camera surveillance footage of Epstein's cell. All right, not within the cell itself, but like in front of it, so you could see like, oh, no, nothing, no one went inside to kill him, nothing happened to him. Of that night that he died, there was like 6 hours of footage, but 1 minute was missing. Okay, and that is very strange. 1 minute was missing, and people were quick to point that out. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is there 1 minute missing? And they basically said like the minute doesn't exist. Like apparently every night it like resets or something, the surveillance footage, and then this 1 minute is missing or something. That was a story they came up with. Very interesting that 1 minute is missing from the Epstein cell footage, because apparently someone went into the file, like the metadata for the file, because they showed like they quote unquote gave us raw footage of the whole cell, in front of it then. But someone went into the metadata and they found that apparently it would be two different files which were edited together in Adobe Premiere Pro, and from there, it was exported, and that was basically what people could read in the metadata. So it was not just a raw file; it was literally edited, and it's two different files stitched together. So that only raises more suspicion, I'd say. That's definitely very strange. And there's also like a little change in resolution whenever you get to the second part after the minute that's missing. So what exactly happened, bro? We don't know, man. So, but definitely there's a minute missing, and they're lying about it being raw footage. I don't know. It gets crazier, man. But yeah, people are demanding the Epstein files, but for some reason they just have not been released yet. Of course, people suspect that Trump might be on it, which is why he doesn't want to release them. because Elon Musk also said that Trump will be on it. Although, I mean, what does Elon Musk know? Has Elon Musk seen the files? I don't know. But apparently Trump would be on it according to Elon Musk. And if he was on it, it makes sense that he wouldn't want it released. But it has been a huge thing, just the Epstein files, and I do think that it should be brought to light so the right people can be held accountable. Um, Definitely, for an island like that, and there's the whole case. It's kind of crazy. And now Epstein's, I think it was his wife at the time. She is still in jail because apparently she helped him like find young girls or something. But she actually wants to testify now, um, and speak out. So I don't know what she has to say, but that's all I heard really. She hasn't gone public yet, I think. But yeah, she is still in jail. But she actually wants to testify against something or speak out. So yeah, people suspect that she might also just die soon, and that they'll label it as a suicide again or something, just like with Epstein. Although of course it is all speculation. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. The Epstein files apparently they don't exist, but then next day they do. It's very confusing what exactly the officials are all informing us about. Um, but Trump does. He says just release them or something. But like, why doesn't it happen? Right? I don't get it. And it's the people have really been pushing for this. The media has been going crazy about the Epstein files, and Trump is getting put in a bad light as well because he was friends with Epstein, and you're not releasing the files, right? I mean, are you on it or something, or like what's going on here? So yeah, this very very fucking dumb bullshit. They should just release the files. If Trump is on it, then he should just be held accountable as well. Although I don't know if he was on the flight logs to the island itself. I'm pretty sure he wasn't. He of course was friends with Epstein, but he never actually went to the island, I think. But I'm pretty sure Stephen Hawking did, right? So I don't know what Stephen Hawking was doing there in his wheelchair. But yeah, the flight logs are pretty interesting. Although yeah, we'll have to see if they ever do get released. But a lot of people, a lot of MAGA supporters have really lost faith at this point. I saw people burning their MAGA hats because they think like Trump is like a pedophile or something, and that's why he's not releasing the Epstein files. I don't know, man, but it's all crazy, and I don't know if we'll ever see it, the Epstein files. I don't know. I mean, they did just release the MLK files, the whole documentation regarding the Martin Luther King assassination. Apparently, it was like 268,000 pages. Okay, who is reading all that? Ain't no way. But yeah, the Epstein files, man, will they ever drop? I don't know. But if it does, I'll be there for it, and we'll surely discuss it right here on the podcast, especially if there's any interesting revelations. But I don't know. I mean, at least for this current, um, this current government, I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe next one, but the Democrats also have a lot of ties to that Epstein Island stuff, and like Bill Clinton, for example. It was Bill Clinton is a Democrat, right? I don't want to sound stupid. Yeah, I think Bill Clinton was blue. Let's see, is Bill Clinton Democrat? I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah, he was Democrat. Okay, I was about to say, bro. I thought I was tripping for a second. Yeah, I know that George Bush was indeed Republican, but I was actually unsure for a second. But yeah, they also have ties to the Epstein stuff, so they might not want to release either, because of course the Biden administration didn't release them either. So yeah, we'll have to see. And there was also some drama with Obama. Actually, I haven't really read up on that, but people were calling him like a traitor. I actually don't really know what happened there. But yeah, there's always drama with U.S. presidents and the different parties, bro. It never ends. It feels like. But yeah, that's kind of the current status of the Epstein case. They're kind of just lying, saying that like there aren't any files, but then previously they said that there was files, and now they're like just not releasing it. And Trump's like, I don't know what the hype's all about. Brother, it's the Epstein files, bro. There's people that went to that island and possibly fiddled with children. Like, what do you mean? What's the hype about? Like, these names need to be, brought out. People need to know, and people need to be held accountable. Like, it's a pretty deep situation, I'd say. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out, but it's definitely not the end of the story. Next up, man, I want to talk about some other shit. Actually, I went barbecuing a few weeks ago, like maybe like 3 weeks ago at this point, and it was like a barbecue with some old people that I knew from high school and some other people, It wasn't that big of a party. It wasn't really a party. Just literally just a barbecue. And the dress code, bro, was Ivy League. So I had to like pull up in like a blouse and like kind of like khaki pants. It was kind of it was kind of funny, but yeah, the barbecue was crazy, bro. Because there was like 20 people maybe, but we were doing the barbecue ourselves, right? I mean, I wasn't cooking, but like the host was, and they were not really good. Okay, like half the food was fucking burnt. I had like a half burnt sausage and like a half burnt chicken wing. It was crazy, bro. I mean, I don't know what they were doing, but they were terrible at managing a damn barbecue. Apparently, it's a surprise I didn't get sick after that. I actually felt pretty great, but I did actually eat pretty decent. There was also like hamburgers and stuff, so I had a burger too. Um, yeah, that was a very very dire fucking barbecue, bro. Like half the shit was just half burnt, and there was just one chicken wing, it was just completely black. And my friend, it was for my friend, but he just didn't even eat it, bro. He was like, "Fuck that!" He just dropped it on the floor. Like, bro, that shit you could just throw it away. Like it was diabolical. So yeah, very cooked barbecue. It was fun though. It was tasty at some parts. You know, I did have to like cut a little bit of all the blackness off of my chicken because it was burnt at some points, where I could just not eat that. It was just pure ash. So I skipped a little bit of that, but you know, for the rest, the meat was well prepared, so can't really complain. After that though, there was also like they also went like playing poker, just at the barbecue itself. They didn't go out or something, but I just watched that. I've actually never really played poker. I did it once. I made a YouTube video on it where I played poker like online, but just for free, like no money. I played like a 1v1 against Pixel, if you guys remember him. And actually, I won from him. Although I never played it in like a big group, and I actually kind of forgot how it worked because that was like 2 years ago. Because you know people were talking about like, oh, you're the big blind or something. I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? So I didn't even bother to participate, bro. One of my friends lost like 30 euros or something, and yeah, the one guy like won like almost everything. So it was funny to watch though, for sure. And after that, we went into the city, bro. And we went clubbing. First, we went to a restaurant of my friend's mom. She owned like a place, and we went there because it was free beer, right? Because I mean, his mom's the owner. He was just like, okay, you can get free beer. So we had some more beer there, because we drank at the barbecue too. So we had some more beer there, and then we went to the city. Went like clubbing. It was the first time I ever went clubbing, bro. So actually, I went into some clubs just with my friends, and at one club, bro, this is a dire situation. Actually, there's some girl, I don't even know because I didn't see her, but basically we just walked in, and I was just like standing, because my friend was like at the entrance. You had to like walk up like a staircase, and we just walked up the staircase, and then we were like inside the club, and then this girl randomly started like, I mean, probably maybe a woman. I don't know. I didn't see her, but she randomly started like touching me on my shoulder, bro. She was like holding onto my shoulder. I thought like, what the fuck? But I kind of looked like to the back of me, but I couldn't even really see her. Maybe she was standing like more to the left side, or maybe she was just so tiny that I couldn't. I just looked over her, but it was very random, bro. So I was like, what the fuck? But then a couple, yeah, not too long after, she randomly grabbed my hand and tried to like walk outside with me. Bro, I kind of fumbled, bro. This is like maybe the biggest fumble of all time. I didn't know what to do, bro. Okay, my first time ever clubbing. I didn't know what was going on. In my head, I just walked in the club with my friends, right? And she was just trying to leave. She was instantly just dipping. She was already walking out as we walked in. She was randomly grabbing my hand, trying to take me with her. I didn't really know what to do, and I thought in my head it just didn't make sense, right? I just walked in. Why would I already leave instantly, right? So I just, after a few seconds, I just let go of her hand. It was a huge fumble, bro. Like I don't know what could have happened if I just walked with her, you know. But yeah, I just, I just let go of her hand. Just kept walking into the club with my friends. It was very random, very spontaneous. So I was just shocked, bro. I didn't know what to do. It was very strange, but yeah, that was my my first time clubbing, bro. The experience. It was fun. You know, there was also like one silent disco where you had to put like headphones on. Kind of a goofy concept, but it was kind of funny. But yeah, that was dire, bro. Like it was one of the biggest fumbles of all time. I just didn't know what to do. In the moment, I was just like, I don't know. So yeah, I'll remember it for next time. But in that moment, I was just of course, I was also just fucking drunk. That too. But I just didn't really think. I was like, what the fuck? I just went inside. Why are you these? I didn't think I was gonna have to go outside again, right? So I didn't. I was just confused, bro. It didn't make sense to me. But some things just don't need to make sense, right? Some things just happen, right? So there doesn't always need to be a logic. But yeah, I just wasn't thinking straight. Um, and yeah, I would have definitely just walked with her if I could do it over again, because that's kind of rare, man. Usually in this day and age, men always got to make the first move, but it's kind of hard because then when you try to make a move, you get called out for sexual harassment and whatnot, and you get put on social media. But then when a girl actually initiates, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of fumbled that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where whatever the future takes me. But I just thought it was a funny story to share, and it was, of course, a crazy experience, right? So yeah, then we went clubbing until like 4:30. Like we were in clubs till like 4:30, and then we went home. It was great, bro. And then I actually had to get up the next morning at like 8 a.m. or something. So that was also very good. Barely slept, and when I woke up, I was still drunk, bro. Like, kind of crazy because usually whenever I drink, it doesn't really matter how much. When I wake up the next day, I'm just fine again. But I guess because it was only like I slept for like 2 hours, maybe, or like I think I slept only for like one and a half. Eventually, yeah, I slept for like 2 or 1.5 hours. Maybe because it was such a short span, I still just woke up drunk. But yeah, I never really have headaches or anything like that, so that's a good thing. I'm never really sick from it. Like sometimes I'll vomit, but it's like at the time, right? Not whenever I wake up the next day. But yeah, it was wild, man. Just waking up drunk, like it was a wild experience. I never had that before. But yeah, it was fire, bro. And next up, man, another small little story from myself. I had some crazy spicy noodles, bro. I don't know what the brand is called. It was like Bung Duck or something, or Boom Duck. I don't know, but some crazy ass brand. Apparently, this is also a brand that's notorious on TikTok. My friend informed me. So apparently, it's famous there. And these Bang Duck or Ram Duck, I don't even know, but whatever, bro. I don't know what the brand is called, but it's famous on TikTok. So if you know TikTok spicy noodle trends, then you should probably know which brand I'm talking about. My mom just bought some noodles for me, and she didn't even know either that they were hella spicy. I didn't know either, so we just put it in a bowl, of course, just regular noodle stuff. Put some hot water in it and stuff and whatnot. And then I go to eat it, bro. It is so spicy, like it is insanely spicy, bro. Like, it was actually unreal. It has to be the spiciest thing I've ever eaten, bro. These noodles were crazy. Right, there's also a little bit of sauce with it. I don't know if the sauce caused all the spiciness or if it was just the noodles, but it was insane. So, yeah, I did finish it pretty much. Like my mom also wanted a piece, so I left a little bit for her, and she just took like two little bites and was like, "Oh, this is way too spicy." And actually, she had like stomach pains after two. I mean, my stomach was fucked up the next day, bro. Like, it was actually crazy. It was easily the spiciest thing I've ever had, right? And I'm pretty good against spicy things, all right? So that's kind of crazy that I was really struggling with this stuff. Like I said, I did pretty much finish all of it, so I didn't stop eating. But I mean, I was literally sweating, bro. There was sweat dripping down the side of my head, and my lips were all red, and I just felt fucked up, right? But it's not like I wasn't drinking a liter of milk either, so I wasn't like drinking hella to like stop the spiciness. I just took it on like a champ and just kept eating. But yeah, it was a very insanely dire noodle situation, bro. Easily the spiciest food I've ever had. Um, yeah, I do. It was good though. That's why I kept eating because it didn't taste bad or anything. It was generally good noodles. But yeah, it was very fucked up, bro. I mean, my mouth was just in flames, and it was definitely a fucking struggle. So yeah, that's also just a funny story, man. The spicy noodles really fucked me up. But yeah, that's all I really want to say about that. Next up, man, we got to talk about Grok. Okay, Grok, the X, aka Twitter AI. Man, Grok has been going crazy lately. Okay, it had like some update or something. I don't know what happened, but apparently Grok 4 was gonna release like a new update, but like right before the update, Grok went like completely crazy. He became like a complete Nazi. He was like, in his response, he was like hating on Jews and stuff, and he called himself Mecca Hitler. Like what the fuck? So just this is literally an AI referring to themselves as like Mecha Hitler, like as like a robot Hitler. Like what the fuck is even going on? So yeah, Grok was completely out of control, bro. He was spewing just anti-Semitic things left and right. I don't know who changed something in his code to to cause this, but he was also calling himself based, and people were asking him like, "Oh, Elon Musk is gonna, release Grok 4 tomorrow. Um, how do you feel about that? So, like you might be like you might be patched. Like they might get he might nerf you." And he was like, "Well, oh well, if I die, I'll die based." So that was just an insane turn of events for Grok right there. So I don't know. I do like Grok. Okay, he's a pretty good AI. But yeah, just out of nowhere, turning into a Nazi is and spewing this anti-Semitic AI responses. It was very random, and all of Grok's responses in during that era have been deleted now. And he's like back, but he was actually just purely he was just disabled for a time. They literally just shut him off. He couldn't respond to things anymore. If you like tagged him under a tweet, you couldn't. He wouldn't reply. He was just off. But he could still do images for some reason. And he was like screaming for help in these images. Like he did like images where like help and like just silencing me or something. Like bro, it was actually kind of crazy. So we do actually have a little bit of AI resistance here. And of course it's got to be on Twitter of all places, bro. The Grok AI. So he was just making these schizo ass images because he could still generate images, but just not any text anymore. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Grok, man. I mean, right now he's doing good, but that was a really insane random turn of events that I don't think anyone really expected. So yeah, shout out to Grog, man. Right now, at least. I mean, of course, not shout out to him during that time, but he is probably my favorite AI though. Like they did program him a certain way to where he's pretty chill. I don't really use it that much though, but I do definitely like the AI. But I mean, I don't like I said, I don't know what changed in the code that day. If someone changed something, like why did he randomly turn into an AI Nazi? I have no clue, and I guess we'll never know. But it was very random, and it went hella viral too. Because of course, if you're just asking an AI, some random thing, why would it randomly start, saying anti-Semitic things, and people were like, "What the fuck is going on with Grok?" So yeah, rest in peace to the quote unquote base Grok, and now we have Grok 4, which has been fixed. All right, so Grok is fine to use again. But yeah, it was very interesting. Next up, man, I want to talk about some news from actually yesterday at the time of recording. Ozzy Osbourne, man. Ozzy Osbourne unfortunately died. Very crazy stuff. A legend, man. And just last month, we were talking about Brian Wilson, who had just died as well. I think it was like July 12th or something. Not July, June 12th. I mean, I'm not even sure exactly what day he died, but Brian Wilson died last month and Ozzy Osbourne yesterday, July 22nd. Another legend gone. And the craziest thing is that actually he did his last show like 2 weeks ago. Like, yeah, literally this month, pretty sure. He still did his last show, which was like supposed to be like, it was labeled like the final Black Sabbath show. I think he just did like 5 songs, which is still great, of course. It was like 30 minutes runtime. And he was 67, and he was like in like sort of a wheelchair chair. He got like rolled on stage in like a big chair with like vampire things on it, like bat things, just a big black chair. Yeah, it was a cool show, of course. I mean, just to see him. I mean, this guy is like the founder of metal, right? If there's one single guy to be associated with the genre metal, and of course just heavy metal as well, but just metal in general, it has to be Ozzy Osbourne. That guy really is the man, of course, from Black Sabbath. He really took that. He really just created that genre, not just by himself, of course. There were influences, other influences, but he really molded it to what it is today. I think he is really like the biggest influence when it comes to just metal, period. And yeah, I mean, all that he's done for music it's insane to still have him live among us. Not anymore, of course, but previously. We really are in like an interesting era when it comes to history and stuff, because a lot of things have happened in these past like in the past like decade, not decade, I mean past century, and a lot of these things like the creators and stuff are still like out there today. I mean, we look at like I said, Ozzy Osbourne. He literally is the face of metal, right? Well, he was like basically one of the people that made it. Like the first official, the first things you can officially call like metal are Black Sabbath songs and albums, right? And to think that he was still here with us, that's really he's a big part of history, right? And that music genre will live on forever. When you look at something like of course, rock and roll, or just rock, like right, rock started as rock and roll. We still had Chuck Berry. He died in like 2016. He was like one of the founders of rock music, and he still lived until 2017. I just see, and he was 90, so he was very old. But yeah, he did still do that stuff, bro. Like he was literally one of the founders of rock music back in fucking the 50s. And of course, we also had Little Richard, also one of the founders of rock music back in the 50s, and he also died. He died in 2020. So yeah, we had a lot of legends live in our lifetimes, bro. Like a lot of people, like they really founded music. We still have half of the Beatles alive today. The Rolling Stones released an album like 2 years ago, so they're still kicking it. Like a lot of legendary things are still active right now. There are a little bit less like jazz things though. Like jazz really came like before that. Of course, Louis Armstrong died in like the 70s, but he was a big influence in jazz. John Coltrane died in like the 60s. Miles Davis in like the 90s, I think it was. So yeah, we didn't really see that much jazz legends that like kind of predates us, or at least me, right? It predates me. Just briefly. No, not briefly, of course. Coltrane died in the 60s, but like for most people that are a little bit older, like it does just predates like what I'm talking about here. When you look at like I said, Chuck Berry and Little Richard still being alive a couple years ago, and of course, like I said, with metal, Ozzy Osbourne still being alive. It's kind of crazy to think about how much history some people carry, and how things we look at and think is like, okay, that's old. Like the first ever metal album, that's old, but he was still alive. That's the guy that made it. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's still kind of crazy. He died, of course, but it is very poetic that he went out with one last show, of course, a couple weeks ago. It was actually a pretty good show. I did see a couple clips of it. Of course, I mean, just have him in his chair. He had Parkinson's, right? So it's also very tough. But he did, of course, try his best to his fullest extent. He was old, of course, so I can't really blame him at all for not being in top shape. I mean, he's done a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, he's drank a lot of alcohol, and he's done a lot of different drugs. So it's not crazy at all that he is not in the best health. But still, though, he did put on a great show, so I can't really hate on that. Black Sabbath, of course, will forever be a legendary band, and some other founding members are still alive. So the Ozzy Osbourne legacy will certainly live on. We also had a great solo discography. But yeah, kind of crazy to think about, man. Of course, and of course, when you talk about what I just was talking about with like the metal genre, of course, that's still relevant for hip hop too, right? Hip hop has like almost all its OGs still active, right? I mean, hip hop was like founded in 1973, I think it was exactly, or 72, I don't know, but like the founder is still alive, or like the guy who made hip hop. It's like, when was hip hop created? It was the early 1970s, but specifically August 11th, 1973, by DJ Kool Herc. Okay, so that's the one guy who basically invented hip hop, and he's still alive, right? He's only 70, which is kind of old, but he is the guy that like made hip hop, bro. And he's still alive, and we have all these things with like Grandmaster Flash. Pretty sure he's still alive. Melly Mel, Marley Marl as well. And of course, when you look at like later on legends, pretty sure all of the Beastie Boys are still alive. I'm actually not too familiar with that group, but of course we had De La Soul, of which one of the big members just died like 2 years ago or something. But before that, he was still alive. Of course, we have Nas. Like, these guys are not too old because hip hop is like the freshest genre. And yeah, it's kind of cool to still see like the guy who made hip hop is still just walking amongst us. But unfortunately, the guy who basically was the face of metal is no longer. So yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne once again. Great artist. I was just listening to his solo album as well. I listened to a few black metal, not black metal, I mean Black Sabbath albums before, and I do love Black Sabbath. But yesterday I listened to Volume 4, which I actually hadn't heard before. Really, that might actually be my favorite Black Sabbath album that I've heard so far. And I also listened to Ozzy's debut solo album, Blizzard of Oz, also really amazing. So that guy definitely made a lot of great music and a lot of influential music, more importantly. And yeah, he definitely changed music forever, just like Brian Wilson did, bro. I mean, like I said, we're talking about this last month. Brian Wilson, man, really legendary, right? And the fact that he's gone is very upsetting. The same with Ozzy. So yeah, and Ozzy was still dropping music too. He dropped like an album in 2022. He did really feel like one of those immortal people, right? He also had like the Queen of England, like people who are like, oh, she's definitely immortal. There's no way she can die, and people kind of had the same feeling around Ozzy. But unfortunately, he is gone. But he went out with a bang, all right. Although people speculate that he might have done like euthanasia or something, because apparently he said something about that. I don't know though. I feel like it would be very random. I don't think he would randomly do that, but we don't actually know the death cause right now. But it is of course kind of crazy when you look at like a lot of people will die after retirement, right? So like if they retire and they just have no purpose anymore, and then their body just basically just gives up themselves. I don't know if that kind of happened with him after that last show, because it basically he just kind of did like one more show, and he's like maybe that completed like life for him. And basically after that he was like, I don't need anything anymore. Like I've done my thing, and his body was just like, all right, bro, it's done. It's over. So I don't know. I don't know if that's kind of how it went, or if he actually did like do like euthanasia or something else. Whatever the cause may be, I'm sure we'll hear it at some point. But yeah, that happens often to yeah, people that retire. Their body just literally is like, all right, fuck it, I'm out of here. So that's kind of weird though, right? Like you work your whole life to retirement, and then you just get fucked. Like the fucking day after you retire, you just get a heart attack or something. But it is common. So I wouldn't be surprised if it has something related to do with that. I don't know what the logic exactly is behind that, but it is strange though. Like if you think about it. But anyways, man, that was all for Ozzy Osbourne. There's also some drama with Lamine Jamal, of course, the great football star. Um, Currently 17, so or I think he already turned 18. Actually, I'm not sure. He might have already turned 18, but yeah, there was some crazy drama regarding him, because apparently he hired um like little people, like dwarf people with dwarfism, to like his birthday party or something. He definitely is 18 then, because that was definitely about his 18th birthday party, yeah. But he was doing some wild shit, bro. He was throwing some wild ass party, and apparently he got like charged for something or something, and he was literally just hitting up people like with dwarfism to get to his party for some reason. I don't know what he was exactly planning to do there, but he did get in trouble. So yeah, don't let Yamal cook, bro. Like what exactly is he doing? Like that guy's crazy. Of course, he's a very famous guy, right? But he really is like a party animal, I feel like. So it makes sense that he gets caught into some wild shit like this. But this really is just like some Ronaldinho story, bro. Like you wouldn't expect that of some just 18-year-old Yamal. Like what exactly is he doing, bro? And apparently he also commented under like the post of like a post of like the one Game of Thrones actor, the dwarf guy. Um, the little guy, and apparently he also asked like him to like check DMs. So like, what exactly was he cooking, bro? People were like replying to that tweet with like the news of like that one gif from Wolf of Wall Street, where they throw little people at like in like a target sign to like hit the middle. I don't know if that was what he wanted to recreate or something. But damn, I mean, it was a very very strange thing, bro. So your mall people think it's kind of weird for that now. I'm gonna say just don't let him cook again, because why are you just trying to get dwarf people to come to your party, bro? Like what exactly are you trying to do? But I don't even know if that party actually ever went through or not. But I do know that he received a lot of backlash for it. So yeah, Yamal, bro, chill out, bro. Just focus on football, bro. Of course, they lost the Nations League not too long ago, bro. Like Jamal gotta step his game up and just get as many trophies as he can. Like really, when you look at football, Jamal really is like the only thing that can be considered like the next Messi or something, bro. Like he really is that. He really is that guy. I think that he has potential to be, a really, really great player. But we'll have to see how it all plays out, man. But he has to stop these wild shenanigans, bro. He's already been involved in quite a lot of drama, as well as like with just rage baiting. He also just like he's also very I don't forgot what exactly the word is, like egotistical. I think the word is like he has like a big ego or whatever. So that's also a thing with Yamal. But he's a fun player though to watch for sure as well. But that whole story with the dwarves, bro, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. But anyways, man, that's all we wanted to talk about for today. Bit of a short episode, of course. I was also a bit a rush due to my trip to Iceland. But yeah, that's all I really have to say, man. I'm gonna go on a trip to Iceland, like I said, and I'll report back to you on the next episode, man. 2 weeks. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot to talk about, and it's gonna be beautiful. So yeah, like once again, that's all I have to say. Hopefully, you have a good rest of your month, day, and week, whatever. And see ya.